With the election walls closing in on all sides and the financial wolves at his door, Donald Trump is becoming more desperate by the day. And to save his mortgaged soul, well, there's nothing he won't do. And probably no one he won't sell out. Because, of course, history tells us that. And the folks over at Morning Joe earlier today, well, they unearthed a disturbing possibility that could be more bad news for his MAGA millions, Trump's business investors, and all that they hold dear. During an interview earlier today with Russ Buettner and Suzanne Craig, their Pulitzer Prize-winning co-authors of Lucky Loser, How Donald Trump Squandered His Father's Fortune and Created the Illusion of Success. That's just out today. I can't wait to read it. The very real possibility of another heinous chapter in Trump's legacy of lies was analyzed and examined, and as you'll see, their prognostication stands to become a terrible reality for MAGA supporters and business associates, because the clock is ticking for Trump, and boy, do they have a great prediction to share. Their new book charts Donald's past exploits to unveil how the Trump seeds of deceptions are so deeply sown and may well bloom in a horrible new way in the weeks ahead. For example, let's check out this early tell about Trump's shameless need for recognition back in military school.
And some of the tells in the book are so glaringly obvious as to Trump's character or lack of character. One of them is he's at the military academy, and it's time for the class picture to be taken. And Donald has earned maybe one or two good conduct medals that would be flashed on his uniform when the photo is taken. But he has another idea on that day.
He does have another idea. You have a keen eye, Mike. So that day is going to be sort of for posterity's sake, it'll be how you're reflected in the yearbook forever. And Donald has some medals. All the kids there were given medals for good behavior, for making their bed in the right way. But Donald had a friend, Michael Skadron, who had done very well under that system, and his dress uniform was just covered in medals. So Donald, the day of that photograph, went to Skadron's room and said, "Hey, can I borrow your formal jacket today?" And that's what he wore, and that's the picture that you still see of him with tons of medals all on there, but they're not his. He just borrowed it.
Suzanne, yeah. That metaphor, the medals that weren't his, right, proving in the class picture that he had all these medals, right, is that what he did to so many banks?
So how did Donald go from phony photo ops in military school to megawatt reality star? Well, you might not be surprised to learn that that too is smoke, mirrors, and illusion. And what Trump likely will do in the next few weeks coming up, well, that can be inferred by his past success at being the doltish bystander, as fate turns his massive failures into ill-gotten fortunes. Now, in case you think Trump's success is the result of careful planning and hard work, get a load of this story of luck landing on this loser yet again. And stick around for the Morning Joe prophecy for Trump's next screwjob finish.
After his 1990 collapse, when the banks forced him to sell a lot of his assets or give them back, he was really doing some small ball stuff for a number of years there. He was trying to get his name on other people's projects. He was trying to build golf courses, some of which he got hung up on zoning boards on. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue one day, he gets a call from the hottest name in television at the time, a producer named Mark Burnett, who had just created The Survivor, which was at that point in time the biggest show in television, another show called Echo Challenge. This was a new form of game show that they called reality television. Burnett preferred the term dramality because it wasn't really real. And he needed an idea. He wanted to move Survivor into the city. And his idea was the jungle would be the city now. And so he called the one person that he remembered, he says, from The Art of the Deal, Donald Trump, to see if he would do it. He thought it would take him weeks to get an appointment. He thought he would never get there. As soon as he called, Trump picked up the phone and said, "Come on over." And that day they struck a deal and then began the process of remaking Donald Trump to look like the very consequential, effective billionaire that they needed him to be in order for the premise of that show, that it was a contest between people to get an apprenticeship with him, to make any sense at all. And that process of remaking him not only made him rich, but also gave him the image that was so vital to him running for the White House.
Hey, image is everything, especially if that's all you've got. And absent of virtue and decency, well, that's all Trump's got left. And so for Donald of Tiny Hands, this formula seems to have worked out well so far, right? But will his latest attempt at deceit and delusion pass the ultimate truth test? Yeah, there's a clue. And earlier today on Morning Joe, they offered an assessment and a prediction that may have MAGA supporters choking down their morning coffee as their orange idol looks to take the coward's way out yet again. And, more importantly, leave his investors holding the bag yet again. Well, here's Joe Scarborough to bring it all home today with the truth about Truth Social, the truth about Trump person.
Yet he stands to make, even with his Truth Social stock plummeting, doesn't he stand to make $1 billion or $2 billion if he decides to sell in the next few weeks?
Yeah, well, let's see. I mean, first of all, the stock has been falling, so that's a real question mark. And if he sells, it could crush the company. But these are a lot of unknowns. And, the other thing we've been seeing him doing, just, he's hawking sneakers, he's hawking Bibles. I mean, these are licensing deals. They're not going to bring in a lot of money. We have to remember Donald Trump, he lost a lot of the licensing deals that he struck when he decided to run for president back in 2016. And now he is facing potentially crushing fines, hundreds of millions of dollars in fines. Just think of the New York Attorney General's case. We don't know how that's going to play out if that case is on appeal, but that bill could be coming due.
Yeah, wouldn't that suggest that he'd probably sell the stock even if it did great damage to the company, if he could take $1 billion or $2 billion out of it?
Could be. It would be a real race against time to sell off before the thing plummeted.
Right.
But we also just wonder, he's had the luck of his birth that brought him $500 million, the luck of the Apprentice that brought him another $500 million, this investment on the West Side that produced a lot of money. You just have to wonder if there's something else that's going to come up in his time of need, as happens throughout his life, to sort of give him a rescue. And maybe this stock is it.
All right, the new book is entitled Lucky Loser, How Donald Trump Squandered His Father's Fortune and Created the Illusion of Success. It goes on sale today. Co-authors Russ Buettner and Suzanne Craig, thank you so much for coming on the show this morning. Congratulations on the book. Good luck with the cease and desist. And still ahead.
I do think he'll most likely sell the stock. I know it might crush the company, but with the expenses, if he can get $1 billion, $2 billion out of that, that will have to sell a lot of sneakers to get $1 billion
Trump
or $2 billion.
steaks.
Trump steaks are by far the best tasting, most flavorful beef you've ever had.